Well, how do you charge your Moldavite? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kristen Noel, and in this video, we're going to be talking about how to actually charge your Moldavite. Now, I'm really excited to share with you how to do so because I actually do it a little bit differently than other people. I'm going to give you a few examples, but I will share with you my personal experience when it comes to charging Moldavite and what I personally believe would help you when it comes to working with Moldavite. So the very first way that you can charge your Moldavite is actually super simple, and that is placing your intention with it. So I personally like to say a prayer whenever I receive a new crystal, especially when I'm working with Moldavite. But before I even do that, first of all, let me just say that you probably already know this because I almost skipped it assuming that you already know this, but it's always important to cleanse your crystal. So I cleanse my crystal with sage. You can do that with Palo Santo, any type of sage. This sage is actually sage infused with dragon's blood resin. So you can get this at any type of crystal shop or metaphysical shop. Essentially, you want to cleanse your crystal, right? And you want to fully cleanse it so that it is dispersed of any type of energy from its wherever it came from, right? Like you don't know who handled your Moldavite previously, and you want to make sure that the energy from that past person or wherever or place will be cleansed, right? Because you want to make sure you're starting fresh with your piece of Moldavite. So after you cleanse your Moldavite, what you want to do is actually set your intention and hold your Moldavite. And when you're charging it, you want to say this prayer. And now you don't have to follow exactly my exact prayer, but I will show you the prayer that I use to work with it. Okay. So what I do is I hold my Moldavite in my palm, right? And you can sit cross-legged in a very seated, comfortable position. And you're holding your Moldavite, and this is what you're going to be saying. Hold your Moldavite in your hand. Take a few breaths with it. And you're going to repeat this prayer. This Moldavite is cleansed and released of all lower energies and vibrations. It is recharged with its natural properties and is ready to be used in divine healing now. So just by simply setting that intention with your crystal, with your Moldavite, is super powerful, right? Because sometimes we forget that the greatest charge that we can do on something is not external. It's not outside of us, but it's actually within us, right? We have the power to charge things with our thoughts, with our intentions. And so if your intention is malicious or if you have bad intentions, then your results will come out bad, right? So if you have good intentions and if you set your intentions from the very beginning, you will get the results that you want more likely because of the fact that you are very clear on what you're trying to do. I don't know if you have ever experienced a time where you're just doing something just to do, like you don't have any clear intention as to why you're doing something. What ends up happening is that you are just doing busy work. And oftentimes we feel very unfulfilled when we don't have a very clear intention, and we often get confused and lost and stuck. And that's also why we have things like anxiety, or we feel a certain way or an emotional way because we are not very clear and we have no clarity on where we're trying to go. So with Moldavite, especially if you're working with Moldavite, because it is such a transformational stone, you want to be very intentional with charging it in the very beginning. And later on, I'm going to talk to you about how you can actually build a relationship with Moldavite. So that's the very first step that I would suggest, is charging it by using your clear intention. And literally, it's very simple. Most people think that simplicity is not enough, but sometimes it's the most simple thing that can actually make big changes, right? So very first step is charging your Moldavite by setting your intention with clarity. Second way that you can actually charge your Moldavite is by using an external source, right? So an external source could be the sun, it could be the moon, it could be other crystals. So I really highly recommend building crystal grids with Moldavite. And I actually go really deep into that in my program, Moldavite Secrets. So if you haven't checked that out already, you can definitely check that out on my website. But essentially what you can do is that you can charge your crystal under the sunlight or under the moon during a full moon. And the reason why, your Moldavite can be charged with these external sources is because the sun and the moon is already an energy source, right? So I'll give you an example of what I mean. Whenever I feel like I have low energy that day and I wake up and I have low energy, what I personally like to do is I actually like to go outside on a walk, especially when I walk my dogs in the morning, and I stand in front of the sun. And what I do is I do a tiny meditation and I stand in front of the sun and I really soak in all of its energies. And I imagine the sun going through each of my chakras as my body opens up, as I'm receiving the energy from the sun. So just like you can do that with the sun, your Moldavite can also do that as well, right? Like you're charging your Moldavite. Your Moldavite is getting the juice from the moonlight or the sunlight. And again, when you're using these external sources, what ends up happening is that you can charge your Moldavite that way. With crystal grids, for example, and I'm not going to go too deep into crystal grids in this video, since this video is not about crystal grids, but when you utilize the energy of other crystals, your Moldavite can also tap into those external forces, right? Those external energy. So if you really want to charge your crystal, you can do that as well. You can put it in a crystal grid. You can go outside, use external energy to charge the Moldavite. But personally for me, I really like the very first step, which is to set your intention first. So this could be done in a linear way. You can do this step by step. But if you don't build that relationship with Moldavite and you just go ahead and charge it without setting your intention, then what ends up happening is that it's still charged, but you don't have that relationship with it, right? And that actually brings me to my last point when it comes to charging your crystal or charging Moldavite, is to actually build a relationship with your Moldavite. Now, if you have never built a relationship around a stone, and if I sound like cuckoo to you, so let me explain this concept, right? So anything in life you're building a relationship with. You're building a relationship subconsciously with your computer. You're building a relationship with your home, right? You have a relationship with it unconsciously. And most of the time as human beings, we are not conscious of the relationships that we build with the things around us. I'll give you a really good example of what I mean by this. So my fiance and I are in the process of moving right now. So our house is filled with boxes. Like, it's really out of my element because I like to be semi-organized. I like to know where my things belong. And so right now things are kind of all over the place. We're trying to be as organized as humanly possible with the move. But essentially, obviously, if you've ever gone through the process of moving, you'll know that there's that transition period where you're feeling out of place, right? So we were kind of looking at our place that we have right now and saying goodbye to everything. So for instance, our couch, we're not taking our couch over to our new home because that couch, it's time for us to let it go, right? And we were having this moment on our couch the other night where we realized that this couch has literally supported us for 4 years. This couch that we were sitting on was supporting us for 4 years. And it kind of made me a little bit emotional because we don't really give gratitude and we don't recognize that sometimes the things that we take advantage of are the things that really help us and support us, right? So think about your bed that supports you every single night. And I feel like I kind of went off track here, but with Moldavite, it is in a way, you're building a relationship with it, right? You're setting your intention with it on what it is that you want Moldavite to help you with, whether it is to align your chakras, whether it's to help you accelerate your transformation, your spiritual journey, or whether it is to manifest something, whatever the case may be. You want to be able to build that relationship with it in a good relationship, because a good relationship is one that you are consistent with, that you pay attention to, that you send good energy to. And just like you want to treat your couch or your bed with a lot of good intentions. So if you treat your bed like shit, or if you treat like your things like shit, then the results that you're going to get is like shit, right? So again, just be very mindful of the way you treat your things, because in a way they are supporting you. And when you can see it that way, when you can change the way you look at things, then the things that you look at change, right? So again, I just want to do a quick recap on the 3 ways that you can actually charge your Moldavite. So the first one was obviously to first cleanse it with sage or Palo Santo or whatever format that you want, right? I personally like to use sage or Palo Santo to clean my crystals. And then I like to charge it with my intention. And that part is just so important because our thoughts have energy. And when we, as a conscious being, can infuse our energy on like a stone like Moldavite that is also vibrating at a certain level, then what ends up happening is that we are really supercharging it, right? The second one is to remember about the moon and the sun and using external energy and even the Moldavite grid to really direct energy to your Moldavite and to charge it with external energy. And then finally, the last one is to really build a relationship with Moldavite. And that again applies to everything, to remember that everything in your life that is inanimate, even though you may see it as it's like it's not a living thing or a living being, it's still supporting you in some way. Your bed is supporting you every single night when you lay on it. Same with your couch when you sit on it and watch TV or whatever the case may be. These are the things that are really supporting you. And just like what Marie Kondo does when she enters into someone's house and she has that conversation with it when she's like kneeling, you can have conversations with your objects, especially with Moldavite, right? Because your Moldavite is helping you on your transformational spiritual journey. And so I hope these 3 tips helped you in charging your Moldavite. Again, use your intuition to decide on the best charging technique for you. I'm really a firm believer that when you use your intuition to make decisions instead of your head, then that's when you will see the best results. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions. If you have not seen any of my other Moldavite videos, then make sure you check out these ones over here. If not, then I will see you next time. I'm really excited to be on this Moldavite series with you. It's been a lot of fun. So let me know if you have any other questions or even YouTube video suggestions for me. I look forward to seeing them and I will see you next time. Bye.